Hey there. All right. So, hi, I'm Kimberly Inez, and for those who don't know me, I demystify technology for small businesses so that they can generate and nurture leads with marketing, automation, and AI. And in this video, I'm going to talk about something that is super important, and it's talking about using or having technology that you're actually not using, paying rent for a tech stack that you're actually not using. And we're going to get into it. But if this is something that you find valuable and you think somebody else might find valuable, please like and share, because sharing is caring. Now let's get into it. So let's talk about how I find content for the week. And then trust me, I am going somewhere with this, but let's just talk about it a little bit first. How I find content for the week is by going through all of my Facebook groups. I go through my Facebook groups and I keep scrolling, and I see what people are talking about, because if people are talking about it, then that means that people care about it. And what someone asked in a group is, are you using Go High Level, or have you set it up yet? And surprisingly, a lot of people have said no. And I know that it is not the cheapest platform out there. And some of the answers that I've seen were people who are too embarrassed to admit that, yeah, they didn't really set up. They haven't used it for years, but they've been paying. And some have been paying for it for like 3 years. They've been paying the agency price of $500 a month. Some people are paying $100 a month, $200 a month, so forth and so on. And some people say, yeah, they're using one or two features. And some people say, yeah, they find some success with it, but they don't know what set up looks like. Or some people said, yeah, they're building the plane as they fly it. So the answers kind of went all over the place. And it was not surprising, because as I work with clients, this is usually what I've been seeing. Is I see that a lot of people usually collect software like they collect Pokemon cards, right? And they change platforms kind of like they change underwear sometimes. They'll bounce around from one thing to another because, this feature sounds cool, that feature sounds cool. And a lot of times people, or a lot of times these companies, they will sell on features and not benefits. They'll sell on potential and not really what is in the best interest of that business. And how can they? They are usually pitching at large conferences or workshops, events. Maybe they're sponsors, so they get up on stage and it's like, yeah, this platform does 20 things in one and blah, 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 or my thing can do this and that. I've seen it, and it's not exclusive to High Level. It's been other platforms I've used, and the list goes on and on. But I say all that to say is that these types of systems, they're very complex and they're very bare out of the box. And yes, they have great support when you sign up for it. They do, but they can't do everything because every business is so unique, like a snowflake. So they have a robust set of features, but they need to be managed and combined in a way that works for your business or works for the actual business that is using it. So just because one business uses this doesn't mean that it's going to look the same as another business that's using it. And that's where I think a lot of the frustration grows between a lot of the people who sign up for these platforms. They think that tech support is supposed to do the work for them. They think that, okay, well, if they run into a problem, then they're supposed to go to tech support, and tech support is supposed to solve it for them. Really, tech support, the idea of tech support in these platforms is to ensure that the platform is running the way it's supposed to, meaning that there's no bugs when you're trying to create a page or send out an email or send out a text message so that the platform is up and running. But if you're having trouble figuring out, how to automate something or which trigger to use, things like that, that's not what tech support is really for. Therefore, ensuring that you're not hitting a snag that is a true bug within their software. So I think that there is that big disconnect. So that's the point of contention where people are like, you know what, I give up. It's not a good platform because they don't help me. That's what I see a lot of times. I see a lot of complaints like, oh, well, I contacted tech support and they're just terrible. And I'm like, well, that's not really their job. Because think about it, like if they're mostly offshore tech support was responsible for basically building the campaigns and the automation and the funnels of every single customer, they wouldn't have time to do anything else. And they certainly wouldn't be selling it for $97 a month, not even $500 a month. So really the onus is on the business who is buying the software. And then that leads me to the next thing is, then the business owner, they will hire a VA, they'll hire somebody on Upwork, Fiverr, whatever. And yes, that person is supposed to set it up, but then, they want it set up in a certain amount of time. And the person that's hired, they will do their best to accommodate what the business owner wants. But it's like, well, it takes time to know what you want from that piece of software because that strategy sometimes has not been fleshed out. So building a plane as you fly it sometimes does not work when you're dealing with something as robust as a Go High Level or, Keep, formerly known as Infusionsoft, or even like HubSpot or something like that. You really have to have that blueprint for that person to follow and say, does this make sense for this platform? Can we achieve this result before you even make the investment? Can we achieve this result from this platform? And what does this look like? And have that realistic timeline of switching over. Because I think that is unrealistic to put that onto a VA or put that onto an intern to say, okay, well, build me a funnel in a week, and you don't know what the funnel is supposed to be doing. They don't know what the funnel is supposed to be doing. They build a page, the work is complete before the measurement's even done. You're not really sending inbound traffic into that funnel. And then you're like, okay, well, does this even work? They haven't tested it. You haven't tested it. And you don't even know what the test is supposed to do. And then everybody is frustrated. And then you're like, okay, my tech person left. And then tech support's not helping me. I don't like this platform. And you're blaming the poor platform for something that you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. So that is really the problem that I'm seeing, and I know that I've just said a mouthful. So here's the big takeaway. It's like every month that you're not using the platform, you're kind of renting it. You're kind of holding space, right? Until you just cancel it all together. So I'm going to give you like a little bit of story time. So a long time ago, I used to do exclusively web design. And this was while I was also a programmer, an email marketer, but my business was web design as well. And so my web design clients were also clients of Infusionsoft. And they purchased Infusionsoft from a conference in which Infusionsoft was the sponsor, and they liked the features. They bought it because it included coaching sessions, but once the coaching sessions were done, and I guess they set up a little bit of something on the system, they were on their own. And now the onus was on them to complete the setup or actually use the product, while at the same time building their own business, figuring out their own suite of products and services and everything that comes with it. So you can imagine the attrition that came from it. And it wasn't the platform's fault. It was just the expectation going into it that this thing was going to be this magical thing that was going to just build itself, sell itself, and no work was going to be involved. Everything takes work. There's a switching cost to everything. And when I say switching cost, this means that there is a price, financial, time, effort, to move from one way of doing things to another that you need to factor in. Even in corporate America, when we switched from one platform to another, when there was an upgrade, when our company built a new platform, there was some growing pains. When we moved or migrated a client from our old platform to our new platform, there was some growing pains. There was some moans and groans. There was some, why does it do this in this way? Why do we have to move? Why do we have to sunset this platform? So there's always some growing pains, and you have to factor in that time and that effort. You have to factor in monetary cost, as well as personnel, as well as your own efforts. And so here is the paradigm shift. The problem isn't really the software, it's the approach. All right. So here is one of the solutions is that you don't need to master everything when you are doing a switch. You need to pick one feature that is the most important for you. When I teach how to use a CRM, how to build funnels, things like this, I teach the box method. So I teach like, okay, what is the ultimate thing that you want to lead people to? It's like the North Star. And then I have them draw boxes and draw boxes and draw boxes so that you have that roadmap. Because it's very easy, even for me, because I get scattered brain, I get distracted very easy. So I do what works for me and I teach what works for me. I get very distracted by new features all the time. And the platforms I use have really, really fast releases. I mean, they come out with stuff almost every week. So if you're not focused, you can lose focus very quickly. So it's very important to pick one thing that you're going to start and finish before you start on something else. That way, you feel like, okay, you are completed before you go and do something else. And when you are picking something, you want to pick what is going to bring people to that box, that final box. And usually what brings people to that final box is a way to take payment, a way to move people through your sales process, a way to gather leads, whether that is a sales page, a checkout page, some sort of form, some sort of calendar. And these things are not very hard to set up. What's going to get people to that final box to sell that final thing that you've identified also is having contacts in your CRM. So that means having people already in there, first name, last name, email at the minimum, having them identified and tagged in your system according to their level of engagement, meaning that if they are a client, past client, warm lead, cold lead at the minimum. And that's really it. You don't need to build Rome entirely. You can really just hone in on and focus on those things. And that's really what completion looks like, because you're never going to use 100% of everything that platform has, but you're going to use 100% of everything that is in your strategy. So I hope that really, really makes sense. So that is how you stop wasting money and start seeing results, is by following your own blueprint. And then once you complete that, then you can say, all right, do these new feature releases actually work within the thing that I am trying to build? And if they do, great. And if they don't, then okay, well, they'll be there. They'll be there. And yes, and there are a couple of ways that I can assist with that. So you don't have to wait until it's perfect. You can refine as you go. But like I said, it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. And I understand when you buy this stuff, it's not everybody's cup of tea. It is mine. And so I've identified two ways that, well, not identified, but I have two ways that I can help you. Number one, done for you. So this is where I actually get in your system and I do the work. Unfortunately, well, the good news is I can do it. The bad news is I can't do it for everybody, because it's a very labor intensive service, right? Because not only am I doing it, but we do it together, but I really dig deep into what it is that you're trying to do. And there's work for both of us, a lot of it. So I can't take on too many done for you clients. But if this is something that you said, okay, I've sat on this for too many years and I need to get it done, we can have a conversation. Book an automation insight session call. And if you're like, you know what, I'm somewhat tech savvy and I have a limited budget, we can also have a conversation because I have the Automated Thought Leader Academy in which I walk you through how to set this up yourself. And we have I'm holding up the peace sign, 2 calls per month in which, you bring to me what you're working on and we can work through that. So those are the options if this is something that you're stuck on. And yes, we sprinkle in a little AI. I talk about AI as well. But again, I really read the room and I see what is important to people. And in 2025, automation, system, software setup is still important to a lot of people. And it's important to me too. And it's important to me that you get the results that you want. So yeah, that's all I got to say about that. So I guess I'll talk to you later then. That's all I want to say. All right. Bye.